Hello and welcome back to the Smoke Room, Nick's route. Today we will be doing the good ending, finally. We actually get to have a happy ending for Samuel and Nick, and maybe some other people. Who knows? Who will survive? But yeah. So previously you guys saw the bad ending where essentially you could do a lot of good things and be amiable to certain people, but if you decide to name basically anyone else but the specific person that you're supposed to name in order to more or less get this ending, you end up with the bad ending. But now I'm gonna already preemptively choose the good name, or at least the name that you're supposed to pick to get this result, and we will be seeing the good ending. So which name is it that you're supposed to pick? You're supposed to pick Nick. That's right, Nikolai. Samuel's, for lack of a better word, boyfriend. So you might be wondering why though, specifically. And I will explain that later on towards the end. But yeah. Also, I would like to preface again that the reason why I'm reading this right now, which is I guess now officially considered a fan game, The Smoke Room, is because it was voted upon by the channel members. So yeah, I also kind of wanted to know what would happen too, so, you know, I didn't just want to read it and then nothing. So I asked the channel members if they wanted me to record it for the, for them, and they basically said yes. And we are all aware of what happened with the writer. And we do not condone anything that he said or did, especially with regards to a certain other visual novel that I happen to really like. I sincerely wish that he had never done what he did and stepped out of line and, but what can you do? Anyways, so yeah. Without further ado, let us begin, well, I guess, the ending of Nikolai's good route. A stampede of horses and cattle run across the road, scattering each way in the wilderness of the desert. Looks like you've lost control of the beasts too. Animal husbandry ain't in my job description. Now, are you and your people here to help, or are you just here to... Suddenly I hear a noise that I've never heard before. It's coming from the direction of the crowd. It's loud, a popping sound followed by a whiz. Then there is a wet gurgle. It's coming from behind me. Somebody got shot. There is a wolf that I haven't seen before dressed in miner's clothing. He holds onto his neck as blood splatters from his paws. Then he goes down on the floor. Through the blood that I can see that he was holding a gun. I look in the direction that I thought that I heard the sound from. A tiger's tail disappears deeper into the crowd. One of the guards has a wild look in his eye. He lifts his gun. That is, until Will grabs the barrel. Stop! Seguro County is my jurisdiction. The man is struggling, twisting to get his gun out of the coyote's paw, but Will just brings him closer. You raise that gun into an audience again and I will shoot you myself. You hear? You can't do that. Shut the fuck up and listen to the sheriff. He should know how to handle his people, if he's any good. Immediately the man stops resisting. Will walks towards the fallen gunman. Then he crouches over the body, relaxing his wrist on his knee. He has an odd look on his face when he sees him, almost something like a look of deja vu, but it quickly passes. His sharp, hard expressions return and he nods. He turns his head to the crowd. Now, I have a question for the working folks. He has a whole crowd's attention now. What was this man's name? If he has a family, they ought to know. Will looks from one man to the other. Nobody comes forward. Nobody says a thing. Let's try something else then. Raise your arm if you've ever worked a shift with this man. Still no answers. Confused murmurs run throughout the crowd. Looks to me like the bullet came from the direction of the wolf on the ground. I'll bet the bullets in his gun matched the victim's. Looks like someone was trying to stop them. So, it wasn't the guard? Doesn't look like it. There is an uncomfortable degree of silence that falls over a crowd this large. Both the miners and the guards look confused and shaken rather than pissed. I shift uncomfortably. William, Hey! He yells so loud that I stop in my tracks. We have the situation under control, sir. I don't know what William did, but it seems to be working. I've seen him control a crowd before, but never to this degree. Is it over? Did we stop what Briggs wanted to happen here? Or did we just slow it down a little? I don't really know. And I sure as hell don't want to stick around waiting for something else to happen. I look around me. Weapons are lowered. The tension in the air isn't nearly as thick. Things feel oddly normal. Ordinary. It's that funny kind of feeling that you're like in the middle of one big old clusterfuck rather than being on the wrong place at the wrong time before something extremely awful happens. The situation is under control. Civilian. I'm still taken off guard by the shift of tone in his voice, but nobody's paying us much attention. Miners are still crowding around the body. But up above me in the cliffs I see something slip in between a wall of rocks. An orange tail with stripes. Hey! He barks at me again, shaking me out of my spell. Don't you have someplace else to be? I get the feeling that he's trying to tell me something. Did he figure out something about Yao without telling us? I just don't know. But when he turns away from me and people fill the space between us, I want to put my faith in him. People are already breaking up and dispersing, clearing the way for others to move out. If something was going to happen here today, I feel like it already would have. Nick? I see the badger staring into William's back. He didn't have to yell at you. I don't think that he meant it none. Regardless. We need to talk about Yao, Nick. I mean, really talk. He blinks. Why? Not here. Nick jerks his head towards the direction of the open mine. I squint at him like he's nuts. You can't be serious. It's the only quiet place there is out here, isn't it? I feel the air from the entrance blowing out again. Just a little bit. Like it's sleeping. I shake my head. Not there, neither. Nick crosses his arms. If we aren't going after Yao, then we might as well leave. God damn it. I roll my neck, then my shoulders. Then I lower my voice to an audible whisper as best as I can. If we're going in again, I think I saw another entrance in the cliffs. Another entrance? I jerk my head in the direction of the hills in the quarry, towards the pair of boulders that I saw the tail disappear into. It might be new. It might not. In any case, I doubt that it's on Yao's map. And at this point, it must be one of many. I do not see an opening there, but we can check. It takes about a 5-minute walk up the incline to the two boulders. They hang quite some distance over the quarry below and don't really have any noticeable opening. At least, not until I touch them. I expected to feel rock beneath my paws, but it's baggy. I follow it down to the bottom of my footpaws and see it disappear into the ground. Oh, look here. That is painted canvas cloth. Odd place for a tarp, don't you think? I pull on the side of the cloth and poke my head through. A narrow passage runs to the left. That slow, breathy rush of wind that brushes against my ears lets me know for sure that this is another entrance. Do you think that it is worth it? Think what's worth it? Seeing where this goes. The fuck you asking me that for? I don't even wanna be here. Nick puts his hands in his pockets. But you do want to talk. If we need privacy. He sighs real loud. Then let us be private. Do you know what I'm gonna talk to you about? Nick rummages through his bag, takes out his hat, and puts it on. I think so. All right then. I pull back the cloth and see a wider gap in the rocks than the cover would have us believe. It's almost hard to believe something like this was hiding in plain sight, but there is a whole lot of tan crags around here that almost makes everything look the same. Then I walk once again into that godforsaken cave, and I swear that this is the last time. I saw Yao in the crowd. Nick rests his eyes for a moment, wiping his brow. When he looks at me again, he looks as if he's not entirely confident. He told us not to follow him. He did not want us to be here at the site at all. And you never once thought about why? I thought plenty about why, Samuel. I think he knew that the violence would be inevitable. No. I meant, why would he have to be here for it? Maybe he has somebody else he's trying to protect? He isn't you, Nick. He looks taken aback when I say this. I think everybody has somebody to protect. Or something, you mean. What do you think then? Must be that he's overestimating himself. What do you mean? I think whatever he's doing, he thinks that he can pull it off all by himself. I thought the whole point of us sticking together was to make sure that we'd make it out of this shithole. You'd think that he'd feel that same way on some level after everything that we've been through. What are you saying? I lick my lips because they feel dry. I'm saying that whatever he wants, it feels like he wants it so bad that he's okay with the possibility of not catching that train out. There is no way that I believe that. If anybody makes it out of these horrors, I know that it has to be him. Believe what you want, but it's not how I feel. He has to know it's possible. So why do that if he already has the gold? See how that doesn't add up? He's after something, Nick. Like what? Don't know. But what are we supposed to do if he doesn't want to leave without it? I want to see him catch the train. Quiet. Did you hear that? Yeah. We walk for a bit in the dark. But then I see light shine up from a hole in the floor. I beckon Nick over, and we can see tracks below us. It's suspiciously well lit for a part of the mine when more than half of the workers are absent for the day. So we wait and we listen. We don't hear voices. No pickaxes. Nothing. So we drop down the hole first. Nick lands a little bit louder. I recognize this area as one of the busier tunnels that we've worked in before. We're close enough to the central shaft. Odd how it feels like nobody is here today, even if it always feels like there's somebody watching. What is that? It is coming from a different direction. There is something about that voice that feels wrong to me. Something that makes the fur on my back stand up. Let's avoid it. If we can. Normally I think somebody like Nick would want to go towards a sorrowful sound like that. But the fact that we felt too alone while we heard it changed the feel of the sound just a little bit. Made it sound less like a person. Look. The light at the main shaft is on. So somebody used it? Unlikely. The shaft to level 2 and 3 is unused. The shaft to level 4 was always broken. I press a big green button and hear something whirl. Sam, what are you doing? Seeing if it's still broken. The machine rattles to life again. I shake my head. Don't much sound like it's broken now, does it? The machine whirls softly as we hear something in the deep clicking and scraping against the sides of metal. You think Yao could have fixed this elevator? The clicking gets louder. Mechanics are his specialty. If anybody can. The sound of something heavy locks into place with a hollow boom. I'd bet all my gold that you gave me, as well as those first 2 double eagles that I lost, that Yao used this thing to go down there right now. But why? Are you willing to find out? I hear him exhale. So what happens if he isn't down there? Well, somebody is. It's suspicious timing all the same, ain't it? big fight up top causes a commotion and gets rid of the dissenters in the mine all at the same time, yeah. But the people who ain't on strike aren't here either. Where's the bootleggers? Nick begins to look uncomfortable. They have their own pockets to fill, don't they? Seems to me like somebody told them not to be here if they ain't. So why is that? Especially if this elevator is working now. The metal lattice of the door creaks as Nick pulls it open. He puts one foot through the door, shifting his weight. The platform sinks a little as he steps down, but it bounces back up. It's fine. He reaches a paw out to me. I take it as I step forward and feel the platform beneath me sink, which makes my chest tighten before it bounces back up. Once the platform stops rocking, I press the button to go down. Shadows of bars cast across our faces as we descend. Would be pretty stupid if this is how we got caught after everything else that we've done. Then do not get caught. As Nick says this, the platform comes to a stop. He peels back the door slowly, and there's just enough of a glow from the light to see that somebody's waiting for us at the bottom. There's just enough light to see that he's holding a weapon. Shit. I told you not to come here. Yao? The figure lowers its weapon and recedes into the darkness. I hear the scrape of stone against stone and a small click. Then he steps fully into the light. Arriving at the quarry was bad enough. Coming here is lunacy. What are you doing here, Yao? When it happens, you will know. The tiger doesn't hesitate with his response. When what happens? We hear something. It's that noise again. But it's clearer this time. A low, strained moaning. It almost sounds pitiful. What is that? Have you learned nothing from last time? Do not seek out the voices. Nick takes off his hat, pulls a box of matches from his pocket, and lights the flame. I am not scared of anything that I can punch. He starts walking in the direction of the sound. Nick! I look between him and Yao. What, you ain't gonna try and stop him? I will pretend that I saw neither of you here. I chuff. Oh, really? He bends down to grab what looks like a thin wire on the ground. He tugs on it like he's testing something, pulls it all the way back to the corner of the room. He keeps doing this with various strands. I don't really have time to figure out what he's doing or wait for his response, so I go after Nick before I lose sight of him. As we follow the sound, Yao disappears from view and we hear running water. Nick, he was doing something back there. And he was also ignoring the sounds. You think that he has something to do with that? I don't think anything. But there is no reason not to look. The sound of water gets louder. Hear anything? His beam of light scans the surface of the water, but we only see pebbles, flecks of mica, and thick deposits of mud. We see a blind craft scuttle beneath the flaps of something in the murk. Then we hear the moaning again. There. Somebody's crawling out of the mud. Or something. Keep your light still. It's sliding through the sludge. The dirt is caked on, and its fur is matted. Help! Help me! I whirl to Nick. That's Ben's voice. We look again to whatever has come out of the mud. We mostly can only see his eyes beneath the grime. His overalls are filthy. His left arm and foot are bent in the wrong way beneath the revealed bits of skin. Is he alive? Fuck you! Yeah, he's alive. But only barely, it looks like. You gotta help me. Excuse me? You're the ones who did this. We didn't make you fucking fall. Get me to the surface. Everyone's gonna know what y'all did. Let us go. Agreed. Wait a minute. We start to walk away. I said, wait a minute. You can't just leave me to die. I keep on walking. Nick stops for some reason though. You tried to kill us earlier. Now hold on now. That was just talk. I crook my entire neck so hard that I almost feel like my head is about to fall off. Just talk? You boys were trying to keep all the gold for yourselves. After all, I was right, wasn't I? Y'all filled your pockets with a one-way ticket to the good life, and you were just gonna mosey on out of town, weren't you? How was that fair for the rest of us? Nick shines his beam over to Ben's face and takes a good look at him. Since when have you cared about the rest of anybody? I know what it's like to work like hell for nothing, waiting for something. But the boss, he works hard too. Oh, fuck off. I know things are hard, but how exactly is it fair to steal from him? You commies pretend to care about everyone, but at the end of the day, you just take what you want and give it to your friends, yeah? Where exactly is the fairness in all of that? You gonna kill me because that sits wrong to me? It ain't killing if you went ahead and did it yourself. Bullshit on that. It's the same fucking thing as a murder as you leave me like this. I pick murder then. You dirty motherfucker. He starts making a sound. An ugly sound. I blink because I don't really get what he's doing at first. Then I realize that the son of a bitch is crying. Let's stop wasting our time here and go. Nick starts scratching his head, looking from time to time at the sorry state of the golden retriever on the floor. He inhales, then exhales. Try not to stand. Something might be broken. I almost can't believe my eyes. Nick, just leave him here. Leave me? He's a murderer. Nick gives me a sideways look. He looks like he's about to say something to me, but then he doesn't. Most men become terrible things when they think that nobody in the world will help them. That's an awful big presumption, don't you think? He's light enough to drag. You do not have to help. I will do this on my own. You can't keep living like this, Nick. That faith in people is wasted, just as faith in a false interpretation of God. Ben just looks back at me with his sickly smile. He'll take his chance sometime soon. But I'll be ready. Nick doesn't have much trouble dragging him along. For a man who has been through what he has, I'd expect to see death in his eyes or some kind of distance. Instead, I feel his eyes on me. And when I look at him, he doesn't even pretend to look at me. He has a smile in those eyes. They're sparking, like he knows that he beat me in some kind of sick little game, and there is something about it that absolutely disgusts me. I know we'd be better off if we just killed him. Nick would probably forgive me in time if I did it right now. But I don't have time, and I need Nick on my side until we're clear of this place. We stop for a break, and Nick gives Ben some water first, and then some whiskey to drink from his flask, which I consider a terrible waste. But we're all sitting together now, terribly uncomfortable and terribly awkward, but sharing this fucked up moment all the same. So I figure that I might as well say what I feel. So, what the hell is that problem with you? The golden retriever drops his gleeful little stare and slips into something that looks more like confusion. The hell's that supposed to mean? I mean, I said what I said. No point in hiding you try to kill me 3 times, is there? You talk like you're innocent. I blink like I've just been hit in the head with a frying pan. Yeah? 'Cause I am. You blew years of goodwill that I built up with the boss. The man sputters as he speaks. And I mean years. In just one day. How you figure? I weren't trying to kill you. At least, not at first. Well, thanks for that. You were just supposed to get injured. Show the other men that you were an occupational hazard, you know. You had the Hendrix stink all over you. It was supposed to make him look bad. Instead, you just made me look like a fool, twice over. Because you couldn't take any heat for a job that you didn't even give a damn about. You tried to crush my goddamn paw. It would have healed. You don't know that. I doubt some pretty boy like you has to make use of both hands on any given day anyhow. You'd be surprised. He looks confused again. Huh? The point is... Nick's voice is a little high because he's obviously trying to change the subject. You're sorry for what you did? Well, shit. I don't fucking know. I'm more sorry that I failed than for trying. But yeah. I got out of hand, yeah. I don't usually let things bother me this much, but I don't think that I've ever been that mad before. It's a dizzying kind of anger, almost makes you laugh. Now Nate's dead and my arm and leg are fucking ruined. It'll heal. He spits on me. Fuck you. You can't afford me. Nick leans in very close to him. You're about to go through a time in your life where you can only rely on the help of others to make it through each day. Do you really think that it is smart to start talking that way to the only people willing to help you live? He opens his mouth, but then closes it. No. Nick nods. Every new day might be hell for you. But the sun will rise, you will be there to greet it, and you will be able to say thank you for the light. Most people do not even get that. He doesn't say anything more. I stand with Nick and he begins dragging the man by the back of his overalls again. I don't feel his stare much on me anymore. In fact, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that he was close to passing out. The pain must be really hard on his body. In time we make our way back to the elevator. We see Yao's silhouette in the dim light. We found... Nick's greeting is interrupted with the sound of a noisy crowbar dropping to the floor, its echoes reverberating loudly in the cave. Now what in the hell is going on over here? I swear that I feel my heart drop into my stomach. That's... Nick quickly snuffs the flame on his hat. Hide! Nick drags Ben over behind an outcropping of rocks and I crouch down with him. I hear him whimper and make some little moans, so I try to shush him up. As my eyes adjust to the darkness, I can see 3 new men coming from the direction of the rope bridge that crosses a giant cavern below us. The man in the hat I'm certain is Briggs. The 2 others flanking his side I am not too sure about. At least until they come a little bit closer. Ain't those James Hendricks bodyguards? I regret saying this the moment that it leaves my mouth because not only does it make Ben's eyes open wide, but that sparkle is back in his eye. Oh, don't you dare. Help! Somebody, help me! I try to muzzle his mouth, but he bites me. But it doesn't much matter now, because those 2 wolves are running straight for us. Shit, shit, shit. They point their guns at our heads. I can hear a match light. Then I see Briggs' face, which looks unbothered, almost bored. Come out now, or I'll tell him to shoot in 3 seconds. 1. We don't hesitate for a moment. Good. I'm glad that you know that I don't like to play. He squints and then his muzzle curls into a smile. King? Then his smile curdles. And Ayers. He looks me up and down, ear tipped to boot. The hell are you doing here? We were looking for a friend. Yao's eyes flash. I nod to Nick. I was looking for Mr. King, sir. That's not what they were up to. Ben shouts out the words in a breathy kind of struggle, almost as if he's trying to hold back the maniac, overwhelming glee that he must be feeling at the turn of events. Didn't ask you, Ben. He gives the dog a quick glance without turning his head. I'm asking Mr. Ayers here. Mr. King is already here with you. Well, that's because I found him, sir. Briggs smiles a handsome smile. Then he turns to his left gunman and nods. Right hand, middle of the palm. I feel the sting before I hear the boom. And then my ears are ringing. There is a small hole in my hand. Gore rushes out of me as I shake. Nick snarls in rage as the both gunmen point their barrels at his temple. Yao does not look at us, remaining expressionless. Get cute with me again and I'll blow your balls off next. Briggs claps his hands and jerks his head over to the retriever. So, how come he could do that? He nods at the wolf on his left. In 2 seconds. But it takes you 2 weeks and you can't even manage it. I know I messed up and you're right. I'm sorry. I'll do you one better. I know what they're here for. He's not on your side. He's pointing at the tiger. Go on then, and fix his hand. He'll pass out from the blood loss if you stand by. I follow orders from boss because he is smart and he rich. Yao crosses his arms and looks at Ben. You do not look rich, so I no take order. You're lying, fucking... Nick makes his way to me, slowly tearing the sleeve off of his shirt, watching the guns point at him as he walks. He makes contact with me, touching me, holding the shirt to my palm. As he wraps me up, I can feel him vibrating with anger. Briggs makes an inquisitive little hum. Wow now, this is a doozy. I have a mediocre Colombian who tells me one of my men is not on my side. Then I have my excellent engineer who fought tooth and claw to be here. He crossed the whole damn ocean, in fact. Of course he's still through no fault of his own. That means that he will sell me out to the highest price one day. Briggs pulls a gun from his breast pocket. You want one last chance to fix this, Ben? Yes, sir. Ben gulps as he looks into the barrel, pointed at his head. I want to make this right, sir. Briggs stares at him and nods, dipping his nose down twice. Now then, this is your last chance. You hear me? Yes, sir. I do hear you. This will be an act of trust. Yes, sir. Very good. He twirls the gun playfully in his hand. Let me tell you a little secret about my gun. You see, it has the room in the barrel for 6 bullets, but I only put in 1. Why just 1? Well, that's very good, Ben. I thought you'd ask. He crouches down to his knees to meet Ben face to face. I think about it like this. Bullets are expensive, you know. Yeah? If I find myself in a sticky situation, well, I've already lost if my own boys are down here. Sure, I'd be able to take somebody down with a single bullet, but pistols ain't that quick, and it just takes one more person in a gunfight to get their opportunity. He shakes his head and chuckles. No, that 1 bullet is for me. Why? Because nobody hates losing more than a man after his revenge. Briggs gives Yao a look. Now for the next secret. I am no sharpshooter. Doesn't mean that I haven't hunted in my time, but that's not the same as being a professional man-killer. I like to be careful with my gun. Careful how? I wouldn't want the damn thing to go off in my person if I go about hiding it in my breast pocket. That would be a very stupid, very messy end. Don't you agree? Yes, sir. Very stupid. So the second secret about this gun that I carry is that the first barrel is empty. He turns the gun around in his paw and holds it up to Ben. This here will be an act of trust. If you shoot I will promote you to foreman. Ben looks at the gun in his hand that Briggs hasn't let go of yet, and then at the tiger whose expression is impossible to read with his cap hiding his eyes. Really? Yes, really. He still hasn't let go of the gun. But first, you gotta do something for me. The smile on Ben's face slowly fades. Yeah? Yeah. Put the gun in your mouth. What? I said, put the gun inside your mouth and fire the empty chamber. He pats the other dog on the shoulder and stands. Ben stares at the gun. But won't it still hurt? Probably. But you'll live. Ben stares at the gun some more. His hand moves towards the barrel. Ben's hand freezes. Remember, this is an exercise in trust. If you open the barrel, I will have these gentlemen shoot you where you sit. So? Will you walk the path of a better man, or will you miss your final chance, Ben? That is the question that I'm asking you tonight. He's trembling. Yao is perfectly still. He looks perfectly calm for a man who was just given the permission to be murdered. I don't envy Ben's position, but Briggs is right. If there is a bullet in that gun, he doesn't have a chance. But Ben holds up the gun and points it at himself. Don't do it. Ben pauses. Should I shut him up? Let him speak. It's a free country. His eyes narrow and he opens his mouth. You put that gun in your mouth and you'll die, idiot. Who the fuck you calling an idiot? You! You idiot! If you pull the trigger, you will die. Y'all don't know that? Of course we do. He's toying with you. Y'all just want to save your associate. Nick wants to save you, you stupid asshole. I don't care what you do. Good then, because I'm gonna do it. He opens his mouth wide and slides his mouth over the gun. Boss, I'm trusting you. And just like before, I see the flash of the shot and the splatter before I hear it. Briggs plucks a handkerchief from his pocket, kneels and wipes his boots, and throws it on Ben's still spasming body. His last chance there was to shoot me. He stands up and clasps his paws together. Didn't say that it was a good chance because my associate here would have got him first, but still a chance. What do you speak when I ask you to speak? Understood. I still feel my blood dripping to the ground when I nod. Good. Check them for weapons. The 2? Of course the 2. Don't be stupid. Raise your hands or I'll put a hole through the white head. No questions asked. Yao and Nick don't hesitate. I lift mine as well. A few specks of my own blood hit my forehead. One of them aims his guns at us while the other pats us down one by one. They're clear. I have to say, Mr. King, Mr. Yaolin, I respect ambition more than any quality in a man. Of course, we'll probably end up killing each other one day, but that certainly doesn't have to be this day. You saw nothing, I saw nothing, and the 3 of you leave me today with fat pockets. How's that for a sweet deal? Sounds good. If true, then we strike an accord. I have just one last condition. Oh, here it comes. See these wires on the ground? I look down. There's dozens of strands going this way and that way. At least 10 go behind me into the tunnel. 3 go over the bridge. If you want any money, all you have to do is light one of the fuses. I don't care which fuse or where you do it from. I don't even care if just one of the 3 of you does it. Hell, I'll even turn around if you're concerned with me seeing who does it. Nobody ever has to know who struck the match. Nobody aside from yourselves, and the gentlemen with the guns who will watch you. Consider it. What does lighting a fuse do? It just starts a little fire. Somewhere. Someplace. And those little fires light someplace else too. Why do you think that we would consider doing such a thing? Briggs shakes his head and whistles. I have 2 reasons in mind. The first is, as workers in this fine mine, I believe you're all intimately familiar with how much of a blight the Hendricks family is on this town. The current patriarch has no sense of how to run a mine, or a business in general. He consumes half of our hard-earned labor on all manner of toys and finery rather than what's needed to expand our facilities or to attract necessary new talent. Fortunately for us, the current Hendricks family's lack of knowledge on the elaborate underground tunnels that James I started and James II continued leaves them sitting ducks. So, we're gonna burn the rot straight out of town. So you are killing them? I'm sending them packing at the very least. If they happen to perish in the conflagration, well, that's just a bonus. Why us? Because you are extremely lucky sons of bitches for one. He kicks over Ben's still twitching corpse. You have a patsy. That means your Oriental friend over there leading you down here doesn't mean you have to die after all. Judging by Nick's face, he doesn't believe it at all. But there is something else going on. If Yao is the one playing Briggs right now, he's the most dangerous man in the room. And I don't know how to feel about that just yet. Now that means if you don't give me any trouble, the three of you can leave richer than you ever have been in your filthy lives. Of course, I could just shoot you all in the head and light the fuse myself. That works just as well, but this is much neater and much safer. He turns around. I'll give you a couple of minutes. I trust you have matches. The three of us stand in place, legs stiff and stuck, like we're made of cast iron. I lean in close to Nick, lowering my voice to a whisper. Should we do it? His ears wiggle. Sam, why would you say that? Because he said that we could light any of the wires. The one across the bridge just goes to the mansion. I know where it goes. Yeah, but they're rich, Nick. I don't care. Seizing and redistributing their resources is one thing. But arson? There are servants in the house. A wife, a child. He looks at the floor. The Ben's body has finally stopped twitching. No more deaths, Sam. Not on my part. He might kill us if we walk away without lighting anything. He might kill us even if we don't. Fair point. If Ben's death could teach one meaningful thing, is that Briggs himself doesn't want us to play this game. He wants to see if we can find an out. We need an out, or else we lose. The harder my heart pounds, the hazier I feel. I hear Yao rustling through his pockets. I will light the wire in the corner. I have no more reason to hide my actions. Wait, I remember that corner now. I remember what's there. Nick, I can hear myself breathing as hard as I can. What? Give me a match. No. Just trust me on this, okay? He slips out the box of matches in his pocket and places them in my good hand. I fumble with the box a bit, noticing the two wolves still staring at me as I get a little bit closer to the wires that go towards the Hendricks Manor. My hands shake as I take out a match from the cardboard package and strike it against the side. It takes me a few good times to get the motion right until I see light and feel heat against my face. I swagger forward to the right cord on the ground. I get down on one knee, and I look at both of the wolves above me. Alright then. Watch. The match lights the fuse on the line even quicker than a wick of dynamite. I know it's going to whiz across the bridge like an evil ghost gliding over a swamp, damning the ones it chases and bringing long-deserved ruin to the children of long-gone benefactors of countless misdeeds. At least, that's how I picture it in my mind. Because I don't have the time to watch. I figure that they're going to turn their heads for less than half a second. And that's all the time that I have to use my left leg to launch myself off the ground and into the chest of one of the gunmen. I hear the wind leave his lungs as I topple him over, bleeding on him. I only have half a second before the other shoots me. But I hear the shot. Though by some miracle, I'm not in pain. I don't have time to look, but Nick is beside me. He helps me wrestle the gun from the wolf and we beat him in the head. He goes limp, blood trickles from his nose. Yao is standing over the other man with a smoking pistol in his hand. The wolf is bleeding from his hand, just like I am. I put together that Yao is the one who shot him. Everything I have done. A shot led to this moment. Another shot. Every laugh that I have endured. Then another has been for one single scream. But the wolf is up again, tackling Yao to the floor. Yao falls and there's another shot. I hear something wet, then a howl of pain. Something long, thin, hairy, and bloody lies on the floor. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that it looked like Briggs' tail. Nick rushes over to help Yao, but he doesn't need the help by the time that Nick gets there. Yao's claws are out, leaving deep gashes into the wolf's arm as he fights for control of the rifle until he can wrestle it out of his arms. As Yao starts beating the other gunman in the back of the head, we hear the sizzling sound of the wire again. Nick, The fuse! The Badger races for it across the bridge, pulling a pair of shears from his pocket and cutting it. I exhale loudly as my spark goes out, knowing my part in all of this won't lead to needless harm. Then we hear the elevator operating. Yao shoots at the bottom of it as it ascends. Then he curses. Yeah, you better run. We stop the fire, asshole. A pained voice howls back at me. We started the mansion fire an hour ago, dumbass. Huh? He laughs an awful laugh. It doesn't sound like it should belong to him. Then I hear an explosion come from the other side of the bridge. For just a moment, my heart stops. Nick is looking at the floor as if panicked to realize something. He lit the other wires too. We hear more explosions. Behind us, in front of us, all around us. Podpolacz! His voice shouts out at the elevator. But he's so far away that I doubt that he can hear what Nick is saying. How the hell are we gonna get out of here without the elevator? I placed a rope ladder behind the shaft while I fixed the elevator. Won't he shoot us if we climb? He left his pistol and he's bleeding. I think he intends to live rather than die taking us out. He picks up the gun on the floor and puts it in his holster. Then he walks up to the shaft and tugs on something in the dark that I can barely see. We can climb it if we hurry. Yao goes up first. I move so quickly that I almost get my face hit by his tail, but he's just as fast of a climber. Nick follows. I expect the ropes to sway with our combined weight, but it's bolted to the face of the rock. Yao planned ahead for this. We make our way to the middle of the rope without incident, until I hear another explosion down below. The bridge to the Hendricks Manor is on fire. The flames swallow the sides of it, singing the connections as the abyss swallows it greedily. I'm so distracted by the sight that I almost don't hear Nick and Yao both yelling at me. Body against the wall! Now! The elevator rushes down on us from above. I feel the wind of it as it passes me by, faster than it should be going, as it smashes against the floor. Do not stop moving! I hear more explosions. But all we can do now is climb. And climb. And climb. Once I'm finally at the top, Yao pulls me up by my wrists to get me out of the way faster so that he can get Nick up next. I'm surprised that he didn't cut the rope ladder. For the first time I hear the tiger growl, leaning over a puddle of gore and holding up the fray of the ladder. He did. I bolted it into the rock in 8 different places, so it would not fall. He pinches the blood at the floor, behind his claws. If we follow the blood, we will find a way out. Do not follow him. Why? It is too dangerous. There are other ways out of the mine, and we need to warn people who might be inside that there is a fire below. Yao looks like he's about to bolt off in the direction of the blood when he hears somebody running down the tunnel. The tiger hides around a corner, pulling the gun out of his pocket. Little girls? You shouldn't be down here. Shit, who says we wanted to be? Can't you see my friend is barely conscious? What's your names? Who the hell is asking? That sure shit doesn't matter right now. We need to get out. I know who you are. The cat sizes him up. Sure as hell don't know who you are, but okay. I have seen you before, marking the tunnels. You know extra ways out. Why are y'all talking like this is urgent? Because there is a fire down below. The cat's eyes widen. From which direction? The Hendricks Manor. Shit, so that's why he ran away. Oh god damn it, that means that we can't make it to the lake. I do know a way that goes out to the railroad. There is a maniac on the loose down here. Help watch our backs. She nods at the woolly, furred rabbit hanging onto her arm. And I'll get you there. We got a deal? So long as we stop and warn any of the workers on the way out. Shit. We ain't got time for all that. Arguing about all this ain't really saving any time. There was a weird rush inside my head. The scar on the back of my head hurts again for some reason. Oh, are you alright, Sam? Yeah, The world goes sideways. I try to stand up with it, but I feel like I'm falling. I expect the sudden, hard, painful, gritty slam that comes after you make a fool of yourself. but it never comes. I feel damp fur and strong muscles grip me and then put me over an arm. You lost a lot of blood. You do not need yet another injury. What's that supposed to mean? Nick slides in me next. Oh, Hop, you lush herb. There will be no wedding without you. The cat gives him a funny look. I can tell from the look on Nick's face that he is remembering something. Probably something that he's never told me about. Something that I don't need to know, that's just for him. He picks up his pace and the girl speeds up with him to match him. This way. I see a bit of paint on the rock wall as she leads us down a passageway that I hadn't seen before. It doesn't exactly look finished and there isn't any mine railing on the floor. We feel another explosion. I stumble again and lose my footing, nearly pulling the two of them down with me. But they stand resolute in spite of my weight and in spite of the smoldering scent of our sweat, our blood, and of smoke and fire. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. May God help you. Hop's heaven. Beams of light shine through the cave walls as we climb. Then we come to the end of the tunnel. It's a dead end. The cat walks over and knocks a piece of plywood to the side, gesturing to it and looking at me like I'm slow. The girls go first. I see the cat hop strategically to the side for some reason as she goes through the passage, and it doesn't take me long to see why. I almost stumble again against something squishy on the floor. The hell? Yeah, that's a whole man. I blink and look down. It is a familiar-looking fox with a tawny fur. Though I'm not sure if I can place where he's from. I think I saw him serving drinks at the Stag. Ain't this the barkeep over at the place that y'all took me to? I have seen him there, yes. He has helped some people into the town who would otherwise not be able to find themselves here. It makes sense that he would know a connection from the train to the tunnels. He's dead? Will be soon if we leave him here in the way of the smoke. That guy gets beat up all the time. I've seen him passed out in all sorts of places. I'm not going to bother asking any number of many questions in my head, so I opt to leave it be. I'll drag him outside. I drag myself out, still just as dizzy as before, expecting to have to shield my eyes from the sun. But instead, the sky is red as it can be. Smoke is in the air, and I can see flames in the distance coming all the way from the hilltop. I can see a crowd amassing at the train station, likely clamoring for tickets in a frantic buzz. Holy shit. My eyes are watering and my nostrils feel like they're irritated. I cover my mouth and nose with my shirt because there is so much smoke in the air already. But I am also glad to see a familiar face. William. Sam. The hell happened to your tooth? The hell happened to your hand? Long story. Same for me. The Hendricks matter caught a flame right after the National Guard calmed down. Did everyone make it out? We're not sure yet. James Hendricks is still missing. The guard's still hauling buckets up and down from Lake Emma to put it out. Doubt that they'll save downtown though. I feel myself seize up. Downtown's on fire too? Just about everywhere in Echo is. Seems like it started because of a connected underground fire. At least for most of the places, as far as we can tell. Shit. We couldn't stop it. Nick. Will. I gotta go back into town. But the fire's worse there. I need to check on the madam. What? She was good to me. She looked after me. I could have run away 1,000 times and I would have. But I can't leave her like this. She's got people, Sam. I'm her people. So are we, damn you. I'll be back, okay? I'll be back. Everything everywhere looks bathed in red, light from the smoke and the firelight. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that it felt like the end of the world. In a way, it is the end of the world for most of the people who live here. Most folks walking on the road past me have bags or suitcases, and they're moving in the opposite direction. From here I can see the town hall is torched. The upper scale men's wear store had its glass kicked in. I'm surprised to see the last printing press in town looks like the only thing that I can recognize that hasn't caught fire yet. That and Red's general store. The Hip, however, it wasn't so lucky. I arrived just in time to see one of the artisanal glass windows shattered from the pressure of the heat. Men and women surround the place and townsfolk and guardsmen bring bucket after bucket of lake water. There are a few brothel girls that I don't recognize standing around crying their eyes out. I see Dora's tall silhouette against the front of the flames, just a suitcase at her side, still smoking. "You're safe." She turns her head. "Sam? I didn't think that I'd be seeing you again." "You probably wouldn't have if things didn't get so bad." "I guess that makes you a bad luck man." She smirks. "I hate to say it, but a part of me felt like we were always going to go down in flames. I just didn't expect the whole damn town to go with us. I have my own contingency plans, Sam, but this is pretty goddamn bad." The sign on the front of the Hip falls to the ground with a loud crash. "Until then, we'll find some way to hold the girls over. We always do. But as stubborn as I am, even I have to admit that everything must come to a close one day. It is a bit ironic that the day that Harlan wanted most is the day that he goes missing." "Missing?" "His office was cleaned out before the fire. He took off, as far as I know. It's not exactly like him, but he hasn't exactly been like himself for a very long time. You know, I was gonna live Miss Sosie the business, but a donation of matchsticks is hardly a gift. You haven't seen her, have you?" "I told her to take a trip to Peyton." "Sounds like you had a feeling. Would you have left a few days ago if I had told you I did?" She takes a drag of her cigarette. Then she blows. "Probably not. But it would have been appreciated nonetheless." I feel somebody walk up behind us. He holds up something up, which I realize a little too late is a camera. But I run out of the focus before he can take the shot. "The fuck are you doing?" "Just documenting the current damage of the Hip." "Don't take any fucking pictures of me without my permission. Especially not in front of the property damage. You hear?" "Loud and clear, but it's usually just to get figures for scale. This wasn't meant to be for anything incriminating. If it makes you feel better, you probably blurred the image." "Whatever. If everyone's fine, then I'm done here. If you're headed to the station, could you carry an old woman's bags? Just once more, for old time's sake." "Sure." "Very good. You can have what's in the front pocket. So long as you don't open it until you get there." "Why?" "Because I am not the sentimental type when it comes to goodbyes. I'll come find you in time, if I am able." I push the luggage cart, which is predictably heavy in spite of its wheels. I probably shouldn't have taken Harlan for granted, considering how willing he was to wheel her stuff around. But it does feel weird to know that this will be the last errand that I run for the madam. Back at the station, the crowd has nearly doubled. Thankfully, I hear chugging in the distance. "Sam!" Nick sees me before I see him. "I got our tickets. We are on the way out at the first arrival. First class, too." "Since when can you afford first class?" "Holy shit, William. I didn't even see you this time." "Good to know that I'm not rusty." "It's good that I ran into you again anyhow. I gotta whisper something." He tilts his ear my way. "Go ahead." "I know the guy who did it, Will. Me and Nick both saw. It was Briggs, the other co-owner of the mine. Will chuffs." "Well, of course he did." "You knew?" "Not that he was an arsonist, no. Though not like it matters much right now, when the first priority is putting out the fires. Can't you arrest him now? It's not like there's anywhere that we can jail him without a manhunt and hog-tying him with rope. Your suspect is involved in a whole lot of other situations that are time and case sensitive. I wouldn't tell anybody about it unless you have a considerable number of witnesses. Ain't shit I can do about it until this reaches a federal court. The hell is that supposed to mean? You're the sheriff. So, go on and sheriff. Not much left to sheriff, Sam. Especially if both halves of the most important economic force are missing, and the place's economy just burst into flames. This place is doomed. But you're still the law. You're still wearing your badge and everything. He plucks the badge off of his front pocket and tosses it to me. Catch. I snatch it as quick as I can out of the air to make sure that it doesn't drop. Why are you giving me this? Because I resigned about an hour ago. I'm leaving with what information I know from Miss Hendricks. What? Keep it to remember me by. Or just throw it away. It's worthless copper. What the hell? Don't be so dramatic. You want to see me again? Come find me in Peyton, because this town isn't my problem anymore. Tickets are flying fast. I suggest you guard that slip of paper like it's treasure for the time being. I'm gonna go help some putting the fires out before I see y'all elsewhere. It's like I said before, boys. Survive. Till next we meet. He vanishes into the crowd. The chugging of the train gets louder. It pulls in for a stop as crowds swarm it restlessly. Fancy seeing you again, my friend. Dmitri! Nikolai. The two clap each other on the back. I'm surprised he takes me in for a warm embrace as well. He has a warm, boozy smell to him. All aboard the Peyton Express, eh? Aye. I hear that it is not as developed as Echo. Or, as developed as it used to be. True, but at least it isn't hell. I hear they need work. Won't there be problems with the huge influx of people? Not if they're receptive to the right push in urban planning. I could lend them my expertise in the matter if they're receptive. Oi. Felipe! You're all right as well. Funny to see everyone all at the same time when it's not late at night. All it took was a whole town lighting on fire. Is your family all right? Not really, but they're going to have to be if they don't want to choke to death. I used to think that not even the fire of the devil would get my mother to leave Echo, and that turned out to be true. But my cousins aren't staying with her. I need to find work, and that work is in Peyton now. Well, look who kept their fur unsinged. I thought y'all were charcoal when I saw you sneak on through that cave. In fairness, they were probably surprised to see you alive too. In fairness, you can lick my sweaty balls. I'm the daredevil in these parts. These boys must have just been shitting on four-leaf clovers every time that they eat their greens with how much luck they got. The Reaper ain't fast enough to catch me yet. Say, if we're all going in the same direction in the same place, y'all wouldn't mind if we shacked up for a bit, right? I figure money is tight between a lot of us. I don't see why not. It's what we were doing before anyway. Manpower is more important than money in times of crisis anyway. You could all learn a thing or two about living off the land. In the future, it depends on where my mother and my cousins end up settling. But for now, I won't be able to commute from Echo to Peyton every night, so I need a place to. Any objections, Sam? Sounds like more or less of the same that we've been doing. But let's play it by ear. I see another figure in the crowd try and keep his head low. But I'd recognize that cap anywhere. But before I can get to him, the hard, cold muscle of another person's body bumps into me. Ugh. You again. He looks more frustrated than panicked. Or maybe just exhausted. How is it that every time something goes wrong, I manage to run into you? When aren't things gonna go wrong here? We were doing pretty damn good the last decade, all things considered. I take a look at the bags at his feet. You're leaving for Peyton? Are you slow? I'll be back in town when the fire's dead. Who do you think will be held responsible for cleaning up this mess? I wince a little at the thought. You think you can? He grunts. You think that there's anybody else? Ain't shit that I can do anyway, till that's the case. And it's not like I want to fall asleep and wake up with black lung. He looks away briefly as a family of otters passes through, pushing their way against us. Is that really the reason they are staying? His head snaps to me very quickly. It makes me a little more confident about my guess. A paycheck is a paycheck, buddy. I lean to look past him to the right, then to the left. I don't see your brother at the station. Now why the hell would you? Snakes crawl on their bellies. Did he know about this? That all of this was gonna happen? He grunts again. Can't say for sure. But if he's alive, he'll show up eventually. And then I'll find out. Now he nods slowly. A cluster of tumbleweeds passes by in the distance. The fire casts long shadows of the stuck, tightly overlapping branches. Welp, I got a feeling that we won't be seeing one another again. So let's make ourselves scarce. Make sure to take care of yourself, Mr. Ayers. Family sure as hell won't. He bends his legs, picks up his luggage, then turns from me without looking back. I still can't decide if I like him or not. But it's hard not to wish him luck after everything that he's gone through. And everything he has coming. But I don't have time to think about that for long. I still need to find Yao. I push past a few more crowds of people searching, feeling like if I don't find him soon, I won't find him at all. But then I see a striped arm. I grab for his sleeve with my good hand and he whirls around. He presses me against the wall of the station, only relaxing when he realizes it's me. Hi. That was just another one of your not-so-good ideas. You are lucky that I have become familiar with your touch. I'd make the easy joke if I were in the mood for joking. Clearly you have something that you wanted to say. You should say it before I go. Well, that's sort of it. Why do you have to go? Ain't everything over? Briggs is still alive and at large. William said that he's going to take care of him. The cop? I guess he technically ain't anymore. I see. So that means you don't need to worry too much, I don't think. If they look for us, better that they do not find us all in one place. But nobody knows about, what we took. It is still smarter to separate. Nah, I don't think so, dude. Being able to see you has nothing to do with what's smart or not. We've been through too much to go our separate ways. I don't want you to go. Why? Because I want you in my life. And I think Nick would want you too. It's hard to imagine what the day would be without you anymore. He leans in close to me. Closer than he's ever been. I already love somebody, Samuel Ayers. Ain't there always room for more? His chest presses against mine. I can hear his breath get ragged and I feel him stiffen. The smell of his arousal comes off of him. But then he pulls away quickly. Come with us to Peyton. I will in time. I mean today. Now. The whistle of the train blows as the doors open. Sam, that's us. There is still somebody that I need to find. If we do not see one another again, it is not your fault. Goodbye, Samuel Ayers. Sam, they're loading up the luggage. We have to get on board. Yao leaves, not giving me much more of a chance to stand around and hesitate. I always wanted to leave this goddamn forsaken place. But now that I have the opportunity, or more or less no choice, the moment where all of the people in my life were coming together to build something that worked, it all tears itself apart again. And we're all left as nomads. Travelers without a home. Fuck you, Echo. Fuck you for hurting me. Fuck you for hurting Nikolai. Fuck you for hurting William. Fuck you for hurting Yao. Fuck you for hurting all the people that you forced together before you tear them apart. And fuck you for the promise of better days and a better life. Now that you're nothing, may nobody stumble upon you on some godforsaken path. May nobody slip through you on your way to bigger, better places. And may nobody remember your name. One year later. What's wrong? If the bench is forward, it is not facing the sun. So that's a good thing. But it is looking into the street. You want to pick a direction before we turn the damn bench again? We're sweating our asses off here. It is also hard to maximize comfort. Thank you for selecting the wooden wind chime. We all remember the stories, even if you never bothered to elaborate. I would if I could, my friend. Perhaps there was something in the frequency of their sound that bothered me, but their presence alone was enough. So long as he's letting us board for free, all hail the King of Comfort. Who says that this is for free? I will need more furniture. Provide the materials and tools, and I'll provide the handiwork. If you start on the bunks, it will be a lot more comfortable than the floor. Ain't nothing wrong with the floor. Straight timber is the best for your back. I am not sharing my bed again. Good thing too, you take up twice your body size anyhow. It is nicer than the barracks were. Not that this was saying much. I am trying not to be cheap. Be as cheap as you want. You and your... He's about to say something and then stops himself. Rich amigo are the ones who made this possible. You think Sam is rich? I sweat a little. Well, you know. The hip was highly visited, William. I used to be a star. So it was stardust that flaked off your face when you washed. You mean my pension? Will scoots the bench a little too hard forward. The pain in my paw lights up again like fire. Fuck! Oh shit, it's your paw again, ain't it? Yeah, it's fine. This good, Nick? He tilts his head and scrutinizes the bench. Yes, I think it works. Good, because me and Sam are taking 20. Let's get you something for the pain, okay? I want to say I'm fine, but he's being pushy. Be right back, everyone. I hear a click as William turns on the gas stove. So, what did you really want to say? I hear him fill the teacup with water. Then he places it on the surface. A match strikes and the flame lights up. Just so you know, Briggs returned to the mining operation. He's practically seizing total control. They never found Mr. Hendricks? William shakes his head. No, but his missus is giving him hell. And thanks to the evidence that we've compiled, she's trying to pin the fire on him too. Can we testify against him? To who? Weren't you taking this to the state? Yeah, but it's gotta work its way up to the federal level. He's already trying to place the blame on y'all, you know? I flinch. With what fucking evidence? Don't need much evidence if you get enough people mad and you can hand over a few dead foreigners and a homosexual prostitute. But his evidence is weak, and the counter-evidence against him is stacking up. You really think people will take our sides against his in federal court? Not really, no. But the widow Hendricks? She's as sweet as her ice cream, ain't she? Probably not a dishonest bone in her body as far as the legal system is concerned. The fact that her family was wealthy too doesn't hurt. So things are gonna be fine? Should be, as long as you keep your head down and never go back to Echo. Why Herm? Knowing how you thought of the place, I thought that you'd be sighing with relief. I was just hoping that I'd hear from Cynthia's all. He looks at me with some consternation. You mean you haven't? I hold my finger up and walk to the cabinet. I pull out a drawer and remove the top, leaving an envelope underneath. Then I walk back to the table and plop the letter on the surface. That's Dora's seal. Go ahead and open it. The coyote flips the top open quickly and smooths it out on the table. He pulls two things from inside the envelope. One is a picture of the old staff at the stag last year. The other is a brown, formal-looking piece of paper. So Doro gave you the deed, huh? She gave Cynthia the deed. You think that I'd still have it if I had seen her? Need me to track her down? That would be helpful. Though sometimes I wonder if she might not want to be found. Doesn't hurt to try. There's another reservation on Echo's Edge. I hear some of the girls from the hip were staying there until things get fixed up. Not that I think things will ever get fixed up. I hear the fire in the mine is still going. You think that she's there? I think that she could be. Ain't ever going back to check though. And I don't want you going back there neither. I go there from time to time, but I don't exactly plan on staying. Especially not at night. I don't even like entertaining the idea that she'd go back. Then maybe she didn't. But if she's there, I'll find her. Okay? I pull the envelope back off the table. Okay. Knowing her, she's doing just fine somewhere. Regardless, I'd like to be sure. Well, that's something that I can be good for. I'll get you an answer someday. You promise? Yeah, I promise, Sam. He presses his forehead to mine and musses the fur on the back of my head. Let's worry about Lord Kroll's plans for now, huh? I smile at him. I remember Kroll means king in Nick's language. Lord King is silly enough to fit. Outside, I expect Nick to be the first thing that I see in front of the steps. But instead, it's a tiger. Adler. No need to be cold with me, Yao. I ain't a police no more. So you have other reasons to be alone with Sam? Private ones, yeah. Not too private, I hope. Or else I will have him wear a ring to remind you that he is mine. They stare at one another in silence. Interesting. Then they both look at me and start to crack up. What is going on? They are besmirching my good character. Now come on, Sam. Everyone knows you're as loose as a rubber band. Bullying Sam will not be tolerated. Unless he does not clean his dishes. Thank you, Nick. And he remembers now to use the nice silver when we are eating for casual occasions. I will assuredly not, Yao. As if you ever had the appropriate silver for appropriate times, Yao Lin. Ah. But we did not used to have nice silver. Just because you have money now doesn't mean you have class. The wisest conclusion to come to is that we have no need for class in this country. That is what people lacking finesse say, yes. How is the search for work going? I have found something already. Good. I could not stand you if you were idle. You can rile me up later when we are alone. The sable's ears redden. They are building an electric plant. I have already secured a position. Sounds dangerous. No more dangerous than your old job. Hearts are heavy things. Men have heavier things than hearts when they're blessed, and it keeps things a whole lot more simple. I say that little too loudly, and I think that everyone must be looking at me. But they ain't. It's easy to forget yourself when you're surrounded by the people that you've been through hell with together. But it's just ordinary for us. And the fact that any of us are still here makes me stop worrying. If only for a little while. Meowdy, folks. If you got here, you unlocked a secret scene. When consulting with project supporters, we decided that it would be fairly big and asset-heavy, so it could use some time to cook. However, it is not something crucial for the ending of Nikolai's main route. Keep on clicking to see the next scene. What am I seeing? Sam? Sam. The window's open. I feel warm air sift through my fur as the sunlight peeks through the doilied curtains. Get up, Sam. I'm sorry. My head hurts just a bit. Uh, is it another one of those days? Maybe. Could be just that I slept funny. We used to be able to sleep on hardwood slats. Might be better for our backs now. I brought you breakfast. Rose hip tea. And there is these croissants from the new place downtown where the butter melts in your mouth. Though there's plenty of sausages if you don't want something too buttery. Some aspirin sounds delicious. Of course. I'll bring that right away. He stumbles backwards and out of the room. It kills me how much energy he has in the morning, even at his age. Can't be helped, I suppose. I roll my neck and slip out of bed. Thankfully, it's not too hot to slip into my robes. I hear Nick re-entering the room with a glass and another plate as he twirls around the radiator and slips them onto the tray in my bed. Your medicine. I smile at him as he puts them into my paw. Thanks. It should kick in fast. No rush. You seem happy. I am often happy when I am with you, Sam. No, I mean, something's different. You're in too good of a mood. He drops a roll of paper into my lap. Read the headline. You know I don't read the paper. You should this time. I sigh and squint at the paper. Echo mine owner guilty of gross negligence. CSCG shutting down for good. That old bag of shit was still alive? If you can call it that. Looks like things didn't go his way after the fires. Willem never could pin the fires on him, could he? No, but he did a good enough job at making his life hard. Says here, Miranda Cosgrove, Cordelia Hendricks, and William Adler credited as key witnesses. Better late than never, I suppose. My eyes narrow down at Hendricks. Did they really never find James? They may have, but I never followed it closely. You think that we would have heard about him if they did? I'd at least expect to get pictures of his chest sent to me in the mail. Nick starts laughing. Then he laughs a little bit too hard. You alright? His laugh turns into a full-on wheeze, and he nods, water in his eyes. He sputters for a while, and it takes him some time to recover. I rub his back, waiting, listening to the wind chimes just outside the window. I never found out why Dimitri didn't like the sound that they made, but we got one only after he passed. Tell you what. You eat most of my breakfast for me, and I'll draw us a bath. You could use a soak in the hot water. At least eat the sausages. It's fine. Samuel. I pluck one off the plate with my bare paws and rip into it, chewing as I go. Brought you silverware. Once I'm out by the front door, I hear a quick knock. I open the door and look down. There's a package. If it's what I suspect it is, it's the perfect timing. When I get back inside, I feel a silly sense of pride as I turn the knob and wait for the water to heat up. It is a hell of a lot easier to draw a bath these days than it used to be. But there's something tender about it that makes me giddy. I wait for the water to get too hot for my paws. Then add a little bit of liquid soap. And a little bit of anise oil so the room smells like licorice. As the tub fills, I rip open the box with my paws. Jackpot. Is it ready? Nope. Though I can see that you are, considering you're already naked. We used to get naked for it all the time without having to wait for the perfect temperature. Maybe you did. I had to prepare the perfect temperature for the clients plenty when I had to rely on a stove. It was exciting to always meet somebody new. Figure out what made them like to move. Sounds like you miss it. Some parts of it, sure. I don't miss pretending that spending time with you was work, though. Take a look at this. I throw a toy duck into the water. Don't break anything! Calm down and look. It floats. Is it wood? You threw it pretty hard. It's made of rubber. Oh! It is smooth and squishy. How is this possible? New production methods, I suppose. Thought you like it. It moves fast when they push it. I think about saying something at that moment, but he's too invested in shoving the thing around in the water. He slaps it repeatedly, submerging it, laughing at it each time it resurfaces. Say, Nick? Why do you really like ducks as much as you do? He rolls his eyes. There is no particular reason. But the day of my sister's wedding, there were ducks. The day after the violence in my country on the river, there were ducks. Then when I came to this country, in the harbor, in the lakes, there were ducks. Usually close by the duck honks, you could often hear people laughing. You could hear popcorn machines popping, or some Calliope music sounding off. There were ducks, there were always people. And when there's the sound of people, there is always a reminder that another morning is soon to come. Profound. Like I said, there is no particular reason. Associations with associations, nothing more. The water's fine. Let's get in. I'm grateful that we could afford a tub to contain us both. I'm grateful that there exists a tub to contain us both. It won't be so impressive if you keep on skipping breakfast. What? Are you happy with me, Sam? Now there is a loaded question. I just meant, if you could have done things differently, would you have? Hell if I know. That sounds like a problem for some other me. And you don't see things anymore, do you? Not for a long while, no. That is good. I don't know what it means, frankly. I still wonder, of course. Wonder what? About what's out there, past being alive. But then sometimes I just figure that it ain't my fucking business. And if I never know, I never know. And if I ever do, then I will. Sorry to get philosophical. Has Yale's boyfriend been teaching you words? Philosophical ain't that fancy. I find you very fancy. Hey, Nick. Yes, Sam? Nada chico, ham. I love you too. And that is the end of Nikolai's good route. Or I guess the good ending. Not really a route. Is it kind of was that the beginning of the Echo theme song? The original Echo? But like played in like in the little, what is it called? The piano that you would see like at the bar of like a saloon. See, somebody's missing. But anyways, yeah, that was the ending. And it is considerably a lot more cheerful, I mean, than the previous ending, the bad ending. The bad ending is a lot more Echo than this one. This is more hopeful, more, well, just nicer in general. But yeah, I mean, technically speaking, because this is a fan game now, and I hate that I have to keep saying that, but like, it is what it is. It's a fan game now. The endings can be whatever they want, whatever they decide to write them as. So yeah. I guess it's a little weird right now because it's like, what can you say, because this has no connection to original Echo anymore, so you can't really make oh, I wonder if this connects to that or this and that. Um, but yeah, like I still liked it. I still am happy that I saw Nikolai's conclusion. There is an old cemetery in a prosperous town where wealthy families come to rest. The wind slips through the leaves of the lone willow tree here, and its music lets those who hear it know that there is a clean water nearby, often with honking ducks and playing children. Two men meet each other there, exiles in their own country and this one, who get by on the vast amount of their accumulated wealth as one by one they lose their community to the unrelenting march of time. I am glad to see you decided to come see him. I came for you. You're the one who loved him. Nick wanted him buried next to him. There was some resistance. Luckily, Nick planned ahead and already documented the purchases ahead of time. What did him in? Nick or Sam? I've time to hear both. We're at a cemetery. Nick was a lung disease. Sam followed soon after with a stroke. Not surprising. He seemed to have head problems. Saw things. Of course, you could always see the scar on the back of his head when he was wet. You could feel it too. Your hand was placed on the top of his head plenty. If you were jealous, I can put mine on your head when we go home. I am not jealous of a ghost. Maybe you should be. He was very good. There was a loud thud in the cemetery. Ow! You should not hit me. You should not make me hit you. Do not abuse an old man. I am old too. I will abuse you as much as I like. Anyway, if you kick the bucket first, is this where you want me to dump your ashes? I do not care where you dump my ashes. Just do not smoke them. Ow! You were the one who made me quit smoking. You're welcome. It was hell. But because you quit, you are still here with me, in heaven. I am pretty sure it is still hell. Ow! It was my turn to punch. Are you ready to go now? Just one last thing. The tiger places 2 coins on the headstone. One on the headstone labeled Nikolai Kroll, and one on the headstone labeled Samuel Kroll. Are those double eagles? Like the ones from Sam's stories? Those are the double eagles. You liar. Not lying. The girl in the mine still had hers. She was saving it to give it back to Sam, but she never found them. Then, how did you find the other? I found the ruins of Red's trading post the night it burned down. There was only one double eagle in the register, and she told me that that's where she spent it. Once a thief, always a thief. I left a nugget worth twice as much. I was joking. Obviously, the insurance paid for the Burns' losses, not that they needed it. I hear that definitely did. The family didn't do so well after the fire. They stayed in Echo. Not much of Echo left in Echo, I hear, but so long as it is their choice. Yao stares at both of the stones, nodding. Wind plays through the lone willow tree again. I miss them. Just be glad that we got old enough to miss them. Is there one last thing that you might want to say before we leave them? The old tiger clears his throat. Nikolai Kroll. We came to this land as immigrants and strangers. Somehow, we all survived together much longer than we should have in this United States of Colombia, which have tried to kill us at every given opportunity. Sam, I have no idea where the hell you came from, but I also loved you all the same. There is no method of political change that we can make to turn an evil empire good. But we can still live good lives within one, together, on the fringes. Is that all? Yes, that is all. By all accounts, based on what we did, we should have died. I know it sounds strange, but sometimes it feels like we did. You never told me that before. I know. All I can say is that it is a strange feeling. But at the end of the day, that is all that it is. Besides, if you want to die, I doubt that you will have to wait much longer. Nonsense. I am as healthy as I ever was. So, are you dying tomorrow? Ow! Let's go home now. It will be strange without him. But okay. The old sable and the old tiger leave the cemetery together. The coins do not last in their resting spot for long. Nobody is entirely sure what happened to them, as nobody in their right mind would try to use them to purchase anything in the year 1974. But it is quite likely that yet another teenager stole them. The end. For realsies. Okay, there. So yeah. It was nice to see that Yao and... Oh wow, I forgot his name. The Sable remained together, even though technically it was Nick and Sam and Yao. But I guess it was more of a, like, he fell for them. Well, he fell for Sam, I guess, in a way, and fell for Nick. But, he always had a thing for his original partner, which was a Sable. Why am I forgetting his name? My god. But yeah, so that was the end. The real end. The real good end. And it did answer my question of the whole, like, well, it's not connected anymore, so they could literally do whatever they want. And what they did was they allowed Sam to have a good ending. Which feels more like an alternate universe ending, while bad ending for Nick felt more like if this was still connected to Echo and, you know, not a fan game or whatever anymore, that would have been the actual ending. But yeah. Also, the train scene when they're finally leaving Echo reminded me of the train scene in the Leo route, where they're cursing the town for what they did to the people. And Echo Sam from that visual novel is cursing what they did, you know, to Murdoch, to William, to Nikolai, Clifford, etc. Anyways, so yeah, you know, now that you have seen the good ending and both endings for Nikolai, what do you think? Do you have any comments, anything? You know, write it down in the comments section, and thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play the Smoke Room yourself, you can do so by going down into the link in the description, which will have a direct link for the itch.io page, where you can download the game and play it, or just, you know, go to itch.io.com and search for it. The seasonal updates for the Smoke Room, which is like the modern AU version, are also together in one single visual novel now, and you can find it too through the link that shows, you know, all the Smoke Room related stuff, or the new project related stuff, the Goodnight Fellowship thing. What else? If I recall, I didn't see any form of support. So if and when that shows up, then you will find that in the description. If not, then I'm pretty sure that has something to do with the fact that there's probably still something going on between Echo Project and probably George. So yeah. To be honest, I am really surprised that he is still able to use most of what's here. But yeah. Anywho, My link's down in the description as well. If you want to subscribe to be a channel member, do so. If you want to subscribe to just the channel, do so. Subscribe, do it. Give it a thumbs up, whatever, you know. I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to see a lot more thumbs down for these 2 videos, but like, it's to be expected. Not everyone is a fan of George, and with good reason, you know. But yeah, you know. Anywho, I mean, there's other people reading other visual novels of people that are really bad too. Anyways, but yeah, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.